Welcome back into another episode of No One Asked Us. I'm Craig Choate. That is the Logan Lee. Thank you for joining us. Season 2, Episode 8, Episode 70 overall. Still chugging along here with this weekly show. It is Monday evening. Big weekend of college football. Crazy weekend of college football. The NFL full slate officially kicked off. We'll talk a little bit about some of that stuff. Illinois gets a win, but they're on a bye this week, so not as much Illinois talk. I don't think there's any there is some basketball talk actually, so we'll touch on that a little bit as well. And MLB Rule Changes. Those are kind of what's the main on the docket right now for the show this week. So thank you for joining us. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. If you're on YouTube, you're already here, go down, hit the thumbs up, hit the red button next to it that says subscribe. Keep getting our numbers up, and up. We really do appreciate it. Wherever you're listening to us, rate and review us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to the podcasts. And as always, chapters in the descriptions. If you don't want to listen to the full hour of the show, you can jump around wherever you want to, and we'll let you know what we're talking about and when. That is Logan Lee. Follow him on social media at the Logan Lee, on Twitter at the Logan Lee 91, I think, on Instagram. He's got a personal Facebook page, but I don't think he wants you to impose on that, so don't find it.
You can go find it if you want. I don't care.
Follow the show at No One Asked Us Pod. I'm at Craig W. Choate. We are No One Asked Us on Facebook and No One Asked Us at No One Asked Us Pod on Instagram. All right, all the formalities out of the way. Logan showing up very bright and orangey today on the YouTube channel. How you doing?
I'm just glad you got all that in. I didn't feel like you took a breath for the first 2 minutes of that introduction. I'm great, man. I'm great. I'm just happy to be here. It was an interesting weekend of college football. That is for sure. I unfortunately didn't get to catch a lot of it, but I was just keeping tabs on scores. And to answer your question, I did return back to South Bend. It is still standing. I have not visited campus yet since I have returned. So that could be a little interesting when I head back that direction tomorrow. But South Bend is still standing despite the ugly loss on Saturday. I had the opportunity to go to that game. I was already planning to head home for a family thing. But Friday afternoon, maybe Friday mid-morning or Thursday or Friday, I don't know. It was late in the week. I got a text from a friend of the program, Aaron Patterson, who wanted to know if I was going to be around this weekend, had some extra tickets to get rid of. And obviously, had I been here, I probably would have taken him up on it. Kind of wish I would have just to see that debacle.
Notre Dame tears are the best tears.
Yeah, that's very true, but otherwise I'm good, man. I'm good. How about you?
I don't know how you live there and put up with all that fighting Irish stuff, but
I mean, I'm kind of used to it. I don't know. I mean, it's a bunch of diehards and they love their Irish, and I can respect it. I mean, it's a historic program, but they got some issues going on right now. So
good. It'll be an interesting rest of the season. We'll see if Marcus Frank. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but we'll jump right in. Before we started recording here, you said you didn't have a what caught your eye. Did anything catch your eye this weekend?
Well, there's one thing that I'll just go ahead and mention now because I don't really want to dwell on it too much at the end of the show where we would normally talk about it. But I don't know if you followed anything to do with the D23 stuff, the Disney.
No,
their big fan event where they announced.
I saw there's a new movie coming out. Animated movies called something. I don't know.
They gave me nothing. Usually with these, when they have these things, they have a few at least big surprise announcements that nobody sees coming, whether it's a movie thing or a a Marvel thing or a Star Wars thing or a theme park related thing. They really gave me nothing to chew on. I was really disappointed. I was really looking forward to some big Fantastic Four casting or some big theme park related thing. There's the talk now because Universal's building this new third park down there that they might have to do something at Disney to keep up with it. And there was just nothing. I got some trailers, which was kind of cool, but I was just kind of disappointed. It didn't really catch my eye. Nothing really caught my eye this week in the world of anything, I guess, but it just
Comets get a dub. Anything?
Nope. Comets struggle on the road. Comets have had some injury issues. So that's been a struggle for Coach Cameron Lee in his first season.
Did he ask you to be an assistant or anything?
No, he has asked me to help out in a variety of facets. Most of those things I've had to turn down. I am helping him out in a couple weeks to the homecoming game for a couple things, but
that makes sense.
Other than that, no. He has
social media manager.
Parker is on his staff, and my parents have been helping keep stats on the sideline. So it's a total family affair.
So I was gonna. That's my next question. What would Oakwood High School do if the Lees left? If there were no, Lees?
Tim is out the door. Tim is retired. The only reason Tim's still around is because Cameron's there. Don's out the door at the end of this school year. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Been a long time of a lot of Lees doing a lot of things around that place. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's about it. I had one other thing, but I feel like you might want to talk about it. So I'll let you go to your what caught your eye this week. I wonder if it's the same.
I had 3 things written down. 2 of them are the same sports franchise that we will talk about later in the show. The other one is from a school that I don't want to mention what happened on the field this week because there was no reason to lose to the team that they lost to. But former SIU Saluki Jeremy Chin was named a captain for the Panthers this year. So Chin, of course, graduated a couple years ago with the Panthers, drafted in the 2nd round, kind of carrying the torch for SIU right now in the pros. Was named a captain for the first time. So I thought that was cool. I still remember years ago, I think he might have been a freshman or sophomore. I texted Darren Kennard, just checking in, asked him how SIU was going to be. And he said, they got this dude at safety. He's going to be a pro. And this was his freshman or sophomore year. And so ever since then, I was like really high expectations for him. So to see him continuing to play, they almost got the win over the Browns yesterday, but the Browns kicked a field goal. I think as time expired to beat the Panthers in the Baker Mayfield revenge game. But good for Jeremy Chin to continue to carry that torch, although Saluki's off to an 0-2 start on the season. That's all we will talk about that. Question of the week, formerly question of the week, our What Do You Think segment. Last week didn't get a lot of response from you guys on Twitter. We asked who should be the AL MVP, and I think it was a 50-50 split, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Between Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. I think that kind of makes sense because I don't know who it should be. I think they're both very accomplished and would be great choices for the MVP. So I really don't have a vote. I don't know who I would vote for if I was a voter. Do you?
I voted for Judge.
I think it depends on if Judge gets to that 61 number.
Yeah. I mean,
if he gets to 61, I think he's got it.
Yeah. I mean, Shohei Ohtani, if he could, Ohtani could turn into the LeBron discussion. If Ohtani continues to do what he does every single year, there's no reason he shouldn't be the MVP. Just like LeBron James should have probably been the MVP every single season. He's in the league too, but it doesn't always go to him. Same thing with Mike Trout in the past. Doesn't always, just because they're the best player, and doesn't always mean they get the votes. I think it could go either way. I do think it's important that the Judge hits that 61 mark, but it looks like he's probably going to.
I hope he does.
That's because I'm in much better team. So
yeah, that's true.
That'll probably play a factor in it as well.
I hope Judge gets to 61 because I'm in the fantasy baseball semifinals this week. So I need him to continue to hit as many tanks as he can. And I also have Mike Trout, who hit a home run in 6 consecutive games. Of course, when I was on a bye, I had the bye last week to the semi in the quarters. So I hope he continues to hit them as well. Our question this week for y'all, couple Big Ten West teams have got off to some rough starts. They're both 1-1, but they haven't looked great. So our question is, let me get it worded right. Which Big Ten West team should be most concerned? And we're just talking this year, just for this 2022 season. Which Big Ten West team should be most concerned? We're not including Nebraska. We know what's going on in Nebraska. I don't think anyone expected them to be very good. But these 2 teams that we're going to give you had high expectations, and both are coming off of losses. First is Iowa. Of course, the 7-3 game last week and the 10-7 game this week. The other one's Wisconsin. Lost to Washington State in Madison, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah.
In Madison this week. So those are the 2 teams we're going to give you. Who should be more concerned for this season, Wisconsin or Iowa? We'll discuss some of that here coming up. As for the Illini, back in the win column, a big win, 24-3 over Virginia. It was 21-3 at half, only 3 points in the second half. Scoreline shows a blowout, but the game really wasn't that great. Tommy DeVito, 17 of 25, 196 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Chase Brown, great once again, 20 carries, 146 yards, but no touchdowns. Reggie Love gained 33 yards on 9 carries in second half mop-up time. And Luke Ford, your boy, had 4 catches. He caught the ball 4 times, but only for 20 yards. So little dink and dunk stuff from DeVito. They really held Brennan Armstrong in check. Last year, we talked about his stats in last year's game on last week's episode. He had like 400 total yards between rushing and throwing. He was 13 of 32 for 180 yards, and he threw 2 interceptions. He had an 8.3 QBR, which is terrible. That's on a 0 to 100 scale. And then their leading rusher ran for 31. As a team, they only ran for 42 total yards. So once again, this Illinois defense just flexed on them and absolutely balled out. And they had to, because the offense did not look good. I know the scoreboard shows a 21-point win, but there was a fumbled punt that ended up in a touchdown. And then there was, I think, one blown. It was just not a good offensive game. So the defense really won this game for Illinois once again. And before I throw this over to you, Illinois, I know it's only 2 games against inferior opponents, but Illinois has not allowed a touchdown against them in Memorial Stadium yet this season. Wyoming kicked 2 field goals, and now Virginia kicks 1 field goal. So they've given up 9 points at home this season.
The Illinois defense is legit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to keep them in football games. Can the offense do enough to win them ball games? I don't know, and we'll see. We'll talk about the state of the Western Division of the Big Ten a little later. So there's going to be some opportunities there. This defense is good. I mean, they are legitimately a strong defense for a middle of the road Power 5 team. And sometimes that's going to be enough. And so far this year, I mean, that's been almost enough. Now the defense did kind of fall apart at the end of the Indiana game. But for the most part, that was a pretty solid showing too, for, at least 3 quarters. Virginia,
one bad drive against
one bad
Indiana.
drive,
one bad drive.
And you'll have that. You'll get that. That's obviously,
especially in that situation.
Yeah. You're going to look back and wish you had that game. I'm really glad they got this win over Virginia. Was obviously a game they were favored to win, but I don't know that anybody was super confident that Illinois would win this game coming off of what they had just done at Indiana, seeing what Virginia did to them last year. So it's a nice one. This is a nice win, almost nearly shutting out another Power 5 school. That defense is good, and we'll see what the offense can do. The offense, as we know, has weapons, has one of the best running backs in the conference, if not the country.
Yeah, I was going to say country.
Was damn near his 3rd straight 150-yard game. Man,
he's leading the country in yards per game, 163 yards.
It's impressive. It's impressive. I mean, they have talent. There's enough here. It's just got to be, it's a matter of consistency. So they'll take the opportunity to, go over some things and rest up this week, because the schedule doesn't exactly get a lot easier down the road. So it's nice to get a couple wins early here. Wish you would have got that 3rd, but this is a big one to get over Virginia for sure.
We talked on last week that neither team had a sack last week I think it was the Illinois Indiana game, or was that Illinois Wyoming?
I don't remember. Well, Wyoming, because I remember DeVito saying he had never, That's
right.
Yeah.
This week against Virginia, Illinois had 9 sacks. No, I'm sorry, 5 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. Gabe Yakas, the freshman, had 2 sacks himself. Keith Randolph had 1. Seth Coleman had 1. Johnny Newton had 1 as well. So there's the 5, but 9 tackles for loss. Interceptions. They had a couple interceptions, right? Yeah, 2 interceptions. Illinois had Matthew Bailey, Kendall Smith, but a negative. Illinois threw 2 interceptions, DeVito did, and they also fumbled 3 times. So 5 turnovers for Illinois. They still won this game by 21. Yeah. Got to clean up the turnovers, got to take care of the ball. I don't think I come out of this game feeling any better or any worse. I'm still not confident in this team. I'm a little concerned about this team. I'm glad they got this win. I had Virginia plus 3.5, so I thought it was going to be close. I did not think Virginia was this bad. Virginia's bad. Virginia is very bad. So this game doesn't sway me one way or the other. I don't know if you feel any different about that.
I don't know that it sways me one way or the other. I have even more confidence now in the defense.
Yeah.
And I have less confidence in the rest of the conference. Nobody in this division has done a lot to really suggest that they're going to run away with it. So, I mean, no, I agree with you in that it hasn't really swayed my opinion that much in one direction, just off of this game alone. But I don't know that it's made me feel worse. I'll say that. I think I feel probably a little better now than I did a week ago when we had this discussion after the Indiana game.
Yeah. No game this week. They have it is a bye week, but they play Thursday the following week. So it's not a full 2 weeks. It's 12 days. But no game this week to discuss. So some time to rest up. I don't know of any major injuries. No, there was one. Ezekiel Holmes, maybe. I don't remember. I only watched the first half. Then I went to a bar to meet a buddy and didn't watch the second half there. I kept up with it on my phone. But I think there was one significant injury, but I'm blanking on the name on who it was. So we'll just move ahead to the rest of the Big Ten. Where do we start? Do we start with the Cy-Hawk Trophy? Iowa loses at home to Iowa State 10-7. They do score a touchdown, I think, in the first quarter. Very early in the game, I think they scored a touchdown. But they lose 10-7 again at home. So they are 1-1. One touchdown on the year, 14 points scored on the year total. I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know what's going on in Iowa.
I was giving you all sorts of crap last week for putting Iowa at the very bottom of your power rankings, which, granted, was probably a little exaggerated after, still beating South Dakota State. Granted, they didn't score a touchdown. However, not a great way to start their season. So, Iowa State's not bad. But yeah, that's not what you want. Definitely something to be concerned about. But I will say they have yet to lose a conference game. So when it comes to,
Big Ten standings
and playing for a Big Ten championship, they haven't lost any ground there. So
yep.
But it's definitely concerning.
The other big upset was in Madison, which we touched on earlier. Washington State travels east and takes down the Badgers. I have 17-14 here. Is that right?
17-14, yeah.
17-14. So another low scoring Big Ten game. This one I did not watch any of. I don't know what happened here, but just seeing that score, Washington State is not a program that you would think Wisconsin should or would lose to. So on paper, things are not looking good in Madison. And I know they crushed Illinois State in week 1, so they are also 1-1, but holy cow.
I will say this. Same thing as I said for Iowa. This is not a great way to start your season. You don't want to lose a game like that at home. But again, haven't lost a conference game. So, it's the same thing. It's going to be broken record, but I think a lot of things could change for both of those teams. I'm not really ready to sound the alarm yet for either of them. But it's not ideal. Not what you want to lose a game at home to what should be a lesser opponent in both those cases. Definitely in the case of Washington State. So, it's definitely concerning. I will give you that.
Wisconsin had 22 first downs compared to 10 for Washington State. Wisconsin had 401 yards compared to 253 for Washington State. Wisconsin ran for 174 yards compared to 53 for Washington State. Wisconsin had 11 turnovers to Washington State's 5, or 11 penalties to Washington State's 5, and they each had 3 turnovers. Wisconsin had the ball for 38 minutes. Washington State had the ball for 22 minutes. On paper, that's a game Wisconsin should win.
Yeah. Can't disagree with that.
Who knows? The other Big Ten losses, Duke beat Northwestern in Evanston, a game that I picked Northwestern to win. I thought maybe Northwestern was better than people thought when they beat Nebraska. But obviously that's not true. Duke's playing well. They got a new coach. So big win for Duke. Pretty tough loss for Northwestern. And then the one that broke the back. Georgia Southern goes into Lincoln and beats Nebraska 45-42. And Scott Frost does not have a job. It is official. Nebraska fired Scott Frost Sunday. The news came out right before the NFL games hit, trying to mask that news dump with the kickoff of the NFL season. But yeah, Scott Frost is gone. Finally. I watched the last 5 minutes of this one. Nebraska scored to take the lead. 42-38 it would be. Yeah. And then they, with like 2 minutes left, and then Georgia Southern went down and scored to win the game. Do you know who Georgia Southern's coach is?
No.
Clay Helton.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't know it till I was watching.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
okay.
Clay Helton. Big win for Clay Helton, former USC coach. But yeah, this is the one that broke the back. We've been talking about it for a while.
Yeah, it's been a topic we've talked about several times on the show is when will Scott Frost's run at Nebraska come to an end? And I guess the answer was Sunday, September 11th, 2022. So RIP to that bit.
5 seasons at Nebraska. Well, four plus seasons because he didn't finish his 5th. 16-31 at Nebraska. 16-31 for Scott Frost. 10-26 in the Big Ten. A certain former Illinois coach, Lovie Smith, also 5 seasons at Illinois, won 17 games in his time at Illinois.
How many did you say Scott had won?
16.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't finish his 5th year. Lovie did get 5 full years. Scott did not finish his 5th year, but Reddit College Football tweeted this out. Imagine going back to 2018 and telling the world that Lovie Smith would record more wins and ranked upsets in a 5-season tenure at Illinois than Scott Frost will in a 5-season tenure in Nebraska. Lovie Smith won more games and beat more ranked teams at Illinois than Scott Frost did at Nebraska. I figured out the issue.
You did? What is it?
Scott Frost just isn't a good coach.
Breaking news.
He had 2 seasons at UCF. He only was there for 2 seasons. His first year, he went 6-7. Of course, the second year was the undefeated year where they claimed the national championship because one magazine called them national champions, and it's on their stadium, and it's the most fraudulent national championship you'll ever find. That's the only winning season he's ever had.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. You're probably right. Breaking news. Craig calls it here first. But yeah, probably.
Also, I don't think I'm in the minority here. When he was hired, I thought it was home run. I mean, I think everyone thought this is the perfect hire. This is the right hire. Nebraska football is back. And holy smokes, is it not?
Watch, they pull off the upset at home on Saturday.
I think it's in our pick'em segment just because this week's games are awful. So I had to throw it in there.
They're bad.
Do we want to throw out the names that were thrown out or the ones I'm seeing the most?
Sure. Absolutely.
Matt Campbell's at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Who we touched on Iowa State with the Iowa game. Again, I don't know that he's a great coach. He's an average coach. Iowa State has only finished in the top 25 once in his time there. They've only finished the season ranked once in his 6 seasons there. I don't know that he's great. Lance Leipold is another name that's thrown out. He's doing pretty well at Kansas, but it's Kansas football. You're not going to win 4 or 5 games there. And the reason I bring this up is because Pete Thamel tweeted out the names, and I sent it to Logan, and I sent it to a couple other people. The names Pete Thamel tweeted out, Brett Bielema was included in. I just don't see any way. Like I feel like Thamel.
That's not happening.
I feel like Thamel just went in and looked at schools and was like, "That Nebraska's an upgrade for him. Let's see if he goes there. Nebraska's an upgrade for him. Let's see," because he's got PJ Fleck in there, Dave Aranda. Why would Dave Aranda leave Baylor for Nebraska unless they triple his salary. Jamie Chadwell is an interesting one from Coastal Carolina. Sam Pittman from Arkansas. It's just some of these names is just like no, but I do think the Matt Campbell thing could be legit, and Lance Leipold could be legit. But
there was one notable omission from that list
that will probably get the job. You want to?
I don't know. Probably will get the job, but I think would be a likely candidate for it if you really wanted it, and that would be the gentleman that's now back on the Fox pregame show, sitting next to Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, and Brady Quinn, Urban Meyer. I'm not predicting that. I'm not saying that's definitely happening. I think it makes sense.
That is a name that Dan Patrick said a couple weeks ago. You sent me that clip, correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Dan Patrick said a source of his said that Urban would be a name to look at if the Nebraska job came open, which makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I would hate it because it would means, you know what it would mean, but it does make sense. It's just a matter of if Urban wants to get back in after what happened. And I almost said Cincinnati, but that's where the incident happened.
Yes.
But he was not coaching Cincinnati in Jacksonville. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. This week's games. SIU does go to Northwestern, UConn at Michigan, Oklahoma at Nebraska, Purdue at Syracuse, Western Kentucky at Indiana, Rutgers at Temple, New Mexico State at Wisconsin, Penn State at Auburn, Colorado at Minnesota, Toledo at Ohio State, Washington hosts Michigan State, Nevada goes to Iowa, and SMU is at Maryland. Again, no Illinois game this week. They are on bye until Thursday of next week. Let's see if we can do our power rankings before our time runs out here. We only got a couple more minutes. Let's go 14-11 for you, top to bottom.
14-11. All right, I'm keeping Nebraska at the bottom. They lost again. 1 and 2. We've already talked about them a lot. Nebraska's as 14. I moved Northwestern down to 13. That's down 3 spots from where I had them. The loss to Duke at home is not good. I left Illinois at 12. Yes, they did get a win. As we talked about, it is a good win to have. But it didn't really show me a lot. As you mentioned, it didn't show you a lot either. And then I have Rutgers moving up a couple spots into number 11.
Okay. Bottom 2 are the same for me. Nebraska drops down there, firing their coach. They're 14, dropping 4 spots. Northwestern drops 1 down to 13 after their loss to Duke. Bad loss at home to Duke. And 12, they're up 2. They're still towards the bottom because they only scored 1 touchdown. But Iowa, you're still number 12. You got to show me something else before you're back in the top 10. And Illinois stays at 11 for me after their win over Virginia. 10-7.
All right. I have Indiana at 10, moving up a spot after the win over Idaho. I have Purdue down a spot at number 9, even though they did win. Just kind of how everything shook out for me. I did move Iowa down quite a bit, but I still don't have them that low. I have them at 8, which I think is probably a little more fair than 12. But either way, I did definitely move them down. And then I have Maryland now at number 7, moving them up a couple spots from where they were last week.
All right. I have Indiana at 10, up 3 spots. They were a close game for a while, but they pulled away for their game this week. Rutgers and Maryland stay at 9 and 8, and then Wisconsin is down 4 spots to 7 for me. Bad loss at home for Wisconsin. Moving right along, 6 through 4.
Oh, 6 through 4. Okay. I have Wisconsin staying at 6 after their despite their loss. I'm not totally out on them yet. Michigan State at 5, Minnesota up to 4, and Penn State stays at 3.
Okay, I said 6 through 4, but you can give me 3. That's fine. Looking at this now that I'm kind of dissecting it more, I think the 4 best teams could be in the Big Ten East.
I think they are.
Is that what your rankings show? Where do you have Michigan State?
No, I have Michigan State currently at 5. Okay,
I have them at 6, but I think they might be 4. I'm not fully in on them yet, but I think they might be 4. But I have them at 6 right now at 2-0. And then Purdue stays at 5, and Minnesota jumps them. Minnesota jumps up to number 4 from number 6 with their 2-0 start. So I have Minnesota as the best team in the West right now, 6 through 4. And then you also gave 3. So my 3 is Penn State. And then we both have Ohio State and Michigan at 1 and 2, respectively.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's some movement and shaking going on, but the top I think is pretty East heavy and will be probably most of the season. The West is just through 2 weeks, technically 3 because week 0. I don't know why it's 0. It should just be 1. But
who do you think of the West does ultimately separate themselves? If you had to pick one team is obviously have to make the championship game. So at this point, knowing what you know right now, who do you think it is?
Might be Minnesota.
You really think? I mean, do you really think it ends up being?
They haven't been challenged yet, so I don't know.
I mean, I get your concern and everything with Iowa and Wisconsin. I totally understand that. I mean, it's very much deserving. I have a hard time thinking that probably Wisconsin wouldn't pull it off and get there.
Yeah,
but
it hinges on Mertz. He's just not. He's not performing well.
Yeah.
What do you? Let's see what his 2 games are here, real quickly. Hopefully, my internet. So he was 18 of 31 this week. 18 of 31 for 227 yards, 58.1% completion percentage. Last week he was 14 of 16, but last week was Illinois State. So it's like, it's not what you can look at. So, I don't know. I don't know who I would hitch my wagon to right now. It might still be Purdue because Purdue was good enough to beat Penn State. And then just some late game clock management, play calling issues, and they lost. So it might be Purdue, but it's going to be one of those 4. Illinois, Northwestern, and Nebraska are not going to do it. Although Illinois' defense could keep them in it. Let's move on to pick your pick. Last week, Logan had a pretty good week. Went 4-1. What game did you lose?
I don't remember.
I'm not looking at it right now. 4-1. So he's 7-4 on the year. I went 2-3. Dropped me to 5-6 on the year. As I said during our previous segment, the slate this week is not good. The week 3 slate is not a good slot of games.
I picked Iowa.
You did. You had Iowa. Yeah. I put some money on the over because it was 40. I was like, if two FBS teams can't score a combined 40 points, they should go get dropped to FBS, get relegated. And they scored 17. They didn't even score half of the 40. It was a bad week. On the week 1 was good for me. I did really well. Week 2 was not a good week. I think I was 3-7. I think on my bets. But here's the games for week 3. Again, not very good. We do have a Friday night one here in Louisville, the home opener. Florida State at Louisville, Friday 7:30.
You going?
I haven't decided yet. Haven't decided yet. I don't have anything else going, so probably. But I have not decided yet on if I will go or not. But
it's funny you say that because it's a lot different experience for you to just decide at the last second if you want to go to a Louisville football game because you can probably get tickets at any point. I mean, Notre Dame's bad now apparently, so it's a little easier. But I can't just on a whim just decide I'll just go get a ticket. That's not a thing. Like I just can't go buy a ticket.
Plenty of them here. Purdue at Syracuse. I never thought we'd pick a Syracuse game, but here we are. Purdue at Syracuse, noon on Saturday, ESPN2. Number 6, Oklahoma at Nebraska. Again, did not think we'd pick a Nebraska game the rest of the year. Noon on Fox. Oh, geez. Big noon kickoff for Nebraska. Although going back to the Scott Frost thing, their interim coach, I think his name is Mickey something. Mickey, I don't remember his last name.
I don't remember.
The first black head coach in Nebraska history.
Okay.
Although he is interim, but he is the first black head coach in Nebraska history, and not just football, of any sport. So some progress there for the Cornhuskers. Number 12, BYU, undefeated, 2-0 at number 25, Oregon, for the belt, Tim. 3:30 on Fox. The other continuing here, Penn State at Auburn, 3:30 on CBS. Couple good 3:30 games there Saturday. Kansas, here we are. Kansas at Houston is in our pick your pick. 4:00 ESPNU. Mississippi State at LSU, 6:00 on ESPN. Texas Tech at NC State, 7:00 ESPN2. Michigan State in Seattle at Washington, 7:30 on ABC. And number 13 Miami at number 24 Texas A&M at 9:00 on ESPN. Logan, you're up first this week since I am running the ship. Where are you going?
These options suck, Craig.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
They're really bad.
So I pick the games every week that we are going to pick, and I tried to pick games that have a single-digit point spread. That's my system.
I didn't even look at the spread on these. I'll be honest.
I just figured that if Vegas thinks it's single digits, it's probably going to be a close game. So I think 9 of these 10 are single digits. Of course, Oklahoma, Nebraska is not. I think that might be the only one, but 9 of the 10 are single digits, and that was it. So this week, Saturday is probably not going to be very good.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
I mean, there's the obvious pick. I will say, and I've already said it once earlier in the show, historically speaking, these games sometimes don't go the way you think.
Yeah.
The first game after your head coach is fired for a terrible team, sometimes that team pulls off the big upset. I don't see it happening. I'm going to take Oklahoma over Nebraska in Lincoln on Saturday.
Okay.
Good luck.
Yeah. Yep. That was the one obvious one. Man. I really don't know. I didn't do any research on these. I threw these together this morning. I might go out west here. I'm just not going to second guess it. I'm going to take BYU at Oregon. I'm going to take BYU to beat Oregon as my first pick. Again, I don't know about it, but that's where we're going to go.
Interesting. Okay. Craig thinks BYU is going to keep the belt, and you're so confident with that, you're going to go second. All right. I'm going to take the game in your backyard. I'm going to take Florida State over Louisville as my second pick. Taking Florida State, Craig, not Louisville.
Yeah, I gotcha. Big win for Louisville on
and
past Friday night.
I think it's certainly possible, but I think Florida State is the better team there. So I'm going to take them.
I've picked one team. This is the third time we've had Houston, and I've picked Houston both times. They won one and they lost last week. I'm going to pick them again. They're at home this week. They're playing Kansas. Kansas is playing better with Lance Leipold. But I'm going to keep the Cougs train going, and I'm going to take Houston to beat Kansas and Houston.
Okay. I like it. I'm going to head out east, and I'm going to take Purdue on the road at Syracuse. Nothing against Syracuse, but I think Purdue is, as you mentioned, I think Purdue could end up being a sneaky good team in the Big Ten. They almost did beat Penn State, and Penn State's a pretty darn good team. So I'm going to take Purdue at Syracuse.
All right. I have 2 that I want, and I don't want
so far,
you to take.
I have picked all 3 road teams.
I've picked one of my 2 as road team. I got 2 that I want. I don't want you to pick my second. I want to get both of them, but I don't know if I'm going to.
You might.
I'm going to take NC State at home. Texas Tech, I don't think they'll see a defense like NC State has all year. So I'm going to take the Wolfpack to slow down the Red Raiders in Raleigh.
I didn't want that game, so I'm glad you took it. Let me look at something here real quick.
So we've got Penn State at Auburn left. We've got Mississippi State at LSU. We've got Michigan State at Washington and Miami at Texas A&M. Those are the 4 games we have left to choose from.
I had one picked out that I was going to go with, but I'm maybe second guessing myself here. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take LSU. I'm going to take LSU at home over Mississippi State.
Okay. Mississippi State played at Arizona last week. It ended at like 2:00 Eastern time.
I did not stay up for that.
I don't know. Is Mississippi Eastern or Central time? Mississippi's probably Central, right? Like as a state? I don't know.
I don't know.
Honestly. I don't either. So, okay. I'm going to get the 2 that I wanted. And then hope for the other one that I want. I think Michigan State's better than I thought they were. I don't know what what Washington is quite yet. New coach, new quarterback, Michael Penix is in Washington. They look pretty good, but I'm going to take Michigan State to go on the road and beat Wisconsin in Seattle.
Okay. All right. A couple good games here left. About the only 2 good games we got on the schedule. Or the ones that both of us are avoiding. Penn State and Auburn, and Miami and Texas A&M. I'm going to take Texas A&M.
Wow.
I don't want to touch that Penn State Auburn game. I don't have confidence in it.
I'm wowing that you picked Texas A&M to beat Miami.
Oh, well, no,
that's the game you picked to pick.
No, that's fine.
Texas A&M lost to Appalachian State at home on Saturday. We didn't talk about that.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. I have confidence.
Okay. So I'm stuck with Penn State at Auburn. I'm going to do some research on the fly here. So this is going to be great radio content. We're not on radio. Great audio content. What has Auburn done this year? Penn State beat Purdue. Auburn barely beat San Jose State. The spread was 24, and they beat them by 8. This makes me want to pick Penn State. I'm rhyming, and I didn't even catch it. Who did Penn State play this past week? Ohio. They looked good. I'm going to take Penn State.
Okay.
I'm going to take the Nittany Lions. I don't trust Sean Clifford. I don't think he's a very good quarterback. But I think Penn State as a team is a better team. So here we go.
I like it.
We're going to roll with Penn State. I'm getting a phone call, and I don't want to answer it right now. All right, so we'll run back through those in order. Logan took Oklahoma, Florida State, Purdue, LSU, and Texas A&M. I have BYU beating Oregon, Houston beating Kansas, NC State beating Texas Tech, Michigan State beating Washington, and Penn State beating Auburn. So that's that. That's our pick your pick segment. I like that segment a lot, Logan. So thank you for coming up with that. We had to improve what we did last year because that took forever.
You're welcome.
And we've done that. So we'll continue it. I really like the picks. Moving on to basketball. I don't think it's surprising news, but it's kind of bad news, I think, for Illinois. Zacharie Perrin, the Frenchman that Illinois got a commitment from earlier this year, announced this weekend that he is not going to be at Illinois this season. He is instead going to prep school, Sunrise Christian Academy in Kansas, while also saying in the tweet that he is fully committed to Illinois and plans to join Illinois next year. He is 100% committed. Let me get the actual tweet here. I'm excited to be in the USA and start my next chapter of my basketball career here at Sunrise Christian Academy. I remain 100% committed to the Illinois program and look forward to joining the Fighting Illini after Sunrise, ILL. So he is in the States, but he will not be joining Illinois. He is going to prep school, and I believe Derek Piper reported that it was academics. Academically, he could not qualify, or he didn't qualify, or he couldn't get into Illinois right now. So prep school it is for Zacharie Perrin. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I saw when he announced. Yeah. It's spelled Perrin. Yeah. But it's pronounced Perrin. Kind of a blow because there's not much depth in the front court for Illinois. So I don't know where they're going to go from here.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I don't think that he was anybody they were expecting to make a huge impact this year. But that does put them in a little bit of a bind. They have now it'll be 11 scholarship players on the roster. And yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, that front court's, they got a lot of wings. They got a couple of combo guards. I'm not even sure that I would fully call them point guards. And then they have a couple guys that can play the post. So yeah, I don't think it's a huge shock. I don't think it's the biggest blow, but it does come late in the game, and that's a little concerning. They're not going to fill that spot at this point, which is unfortunate. It'll probably be, I mean, I'm sure they'll add another walk on, maybe. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I hope that he stays committed and stays that, as he's saying, he wants to still come to Illinois, and I believe him. He'll be a nice piece when he does get here. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen till next season. So he'll join Amani Hansberry in that class for 2023, 2024 would be his freshman year. Just not a lot of depth. I mean, in the front court, you're looking at Coleman Hawkins, Matthew Meyer, Dane Danger, Brandon Lieb.
That's what I was going to say.
Ty Rogers can play everywhere, but I mean, it's going to be a lot. You're going to see a lot more Brandon Lieb. I think
what this means is you're going to see more Brandon Lieb than we need to, and you're going to see a more Matthew Meyer in the post than I think he wants. I think he came to Illinois wanting to spread his game out more and be more versatile. But I think what this means is Brandon Lieb's going to get a lot more minutes than he should, because he should not be on a Power 5 or whatever it's called, a high major. He's not a high major player. He should not be on the floor at Illinois. But you're going to get a bunch of Matthew Meyer in the post, spelling time for Coleman Hawkins and Dane Danger to get a breath. That's what you're going to get. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I wasn't expecting Zach Perrin to come in and score 15 points a game and grab 5 rebounds a game. He was going to get maybe 5 or 6, 7, 8 minutes a game, because he's pretty thin and he's got a lot of work to do. But yeah, this really hamstrings Illinois down low. I don't know that at this point, like you said, I don't know they're going to find anybody to come in and play, add any more depth to this team. So we might know the roster. I don't know if
I don't know how that works, because the semester's already started.
Semester started, so they can't. Yeah, I don't think they can. So the roster is what it is. So
yeah, I don't know, but I don't know the logistics behind that. I mean, it's possible there's a loophole. I don't know what that would be. I think it does hinder you a little bit in the front court, and it leaves you vulnerable if you have an injury or something. I mean, you could be in trouble. Again, I don't know that I expected him to play a ton of minutes, but he was giving you depth at those positions, and now it's just something you just don't have. So that's just unfortunate.
Yep. I think practices start in about a month, maybe 6 weeks away. I think in October you can start working out. So we're getting closer to basketball, as crazy as it sounds, because football just started, but it's right around the corner. Moving to NFL. Yeah, moving to NFL now. Week 1 is almost in the books. We do have Broncos and Seahawks playing tonight. Probably will be playing by the time this episode is released. Let's ride Broncos Super Bowl, as you learned on this show last week. But it was a crazy day. How much football did you watch yesterday? Enough?
Yeah, enough.
It was on Saturday. You didn't watch
in the
college.
Background. Yeah, Saturday I was busy. Yesterday it was on, at least in the room. Saw a lot of the Bears game. Very wet game.
Oh God. In general, though, yesterday was just absolutely wild.
Yeah,
I think every kicker in the NFL missed a kick that could potentially win a game. Multiple in the Steelers Bengals game. I think the Falcons missed a game winner. Am I missing anyone else here? The Colts missed one. Rodrigo Blankenship missed one for the Colts.
Wait, who did you say?
What?
Who have you listed off already that missed?
The Steelers and Bengals.
Yep. Okay.
They both missed.
One. Yep.
Falcons missed a game winner at the buzzer. Colts missed one in overtime that would have won it. And the Titans missed a game winner that they lost to the Giants, that they would have beat the Giants if they had won. So 5-6 teams missed game winners. Potential game winners, which is absolutely unheard of. I've never seen anything like it. But yeah, I think for us, the biggest ones, the Bears beating the 49ers in Chicago, scoring 12 fourth quarter points to the 49ers 0. Just unbelievable. I did not see that coming whatsoever. I thought the Niners, even in the conditions, I thought the 49ers would handle the Bears, but credit to Chicago. I watched all of that game because Christy's family was in town, obviously from Chicago, so they care somewhat for the Bears and watching it. So that's what we had on while I watched Red Zone on my laptop because Red Zone's the greatest creation ever. Yeah, I think the conditions just played a bigger factor than I expected. Neither team could throw the ball. I think Lance went 13 of 28. Fields went 8 of 17. So just not a great game, but a great game to watch because of that, because of the conditions.
Yeah, not ideal. The people that are vying for the Arlington Heights stadium had a lot to talk about after that game because that was not pretty for a variety of reasons. That field's bad enough as it is, and then you get to deal with that, and yikes. Did you see the penalty? The
towel?
The towel.
Yeah, watching it live. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What in the world?
Never seen that before. And it was at that moment that I was like, yeah, the Bears ain't gonna win this one. That's so Bears. But yeah, the Arlington Heights thing is interesting. The Bears presented their plan to the city of Arlington Heights earlier this week, and it's a massive project. They did not show a stadium rendering. They used the Baylor Bears Stadium as the placeholder for the renderings. But then they also said that they don't expect to have a retractable roof, which would make me believe that it's going to be a permanent dome because Chicago is not going to get Super Bowls or college football playoff games in an open air stadium. So sounds like they're likely playing in a dome, which that's a completely different feel for Chicago, but would probably be good because Chicago needs to be a turf city, not a grass stadium like they've had in Soldier Field forever. So that's a whole nother situation that we'll talk about more when we know more about it. But the other thing for me was the Cowboys are just the worst team in football. There's no way around it. Dak went 14 of 29. Zeke ran for 52 yards, 72 yards total as a team. Just an embarrassing football game. And then Dak breaks his finger or whatever and is out 6 to 8 weeks because of surgery. So I think the Dallas Cowboys are in the tank for Tua mode or whoever it is this year. Be bad for Bryce. I don't know who's the better quarterback. Bryce Young? No, they won't draft a quarterback. I don't know. Just tank. Get a better draft pick. It's terrible. Week 1. I'm done.
Oh my God.
It is going to be bad though.
It's bad.
It's going to be bad. They did not. Did you watch the game? Did you care about the game?
Yeah.
It was worst Sunday Night Football game I've seen in a long time. There was one touchdown scored. I mean, the Bucs didn't look great either. I don't know if it's because of the Dallas defense or the Bucs aren't very good either, but it was a bad football game.
Cowboys are bad. That's just sorry, Cowboys fans. I know there's a lot of you that listen to this show.
Yeah, we're a huge Cowboys fan base. All right, we do want to talk about a lot of this, I think. We've got about 15 minutes left. MLB rule changes are official. We are getting new rules in Major League Baseball next season. 3 of them announced that I saw. Pitch clock, bigger bases, and shift restrictions. So the pitch clock, pitchers have 15 seconds to throw a pitch when the bases are empty, 20 seconds with runners on. The hitter gets 1 timeout, and they were testing this in minor league games, and games were reduced by an average of 26 minutes per game. So when you think of an MLB game normally taking about 3 hours, you're cutting game time by a sixth to about 2.5 hours. I've been to a couple of Bats games. I didn't even notice it. I don't think these minor leaguers care either way. It seems they're adapting to it. The struggle will be these older pitchers. I think Max Scherzer has already come out and said this is not how it works. I also saw, and I didn't see this from like an official source, but I think I just saw a tweet about it concerning pickoffs. Like you get 2 pickoffs. You can throw a third time, but if you don't get him out on the third time, he gets the next base.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I thought I saw that somewhere. Maybe I should. Don't take me for my word, listeners. Logan, don't do your own research, and I should look that up too. But I thought I saw that somewhere. And that was my question, was if there's a pitch clock or if there's a limit on throwing over, like how many times you can throw over or whatnot, like how are they going to handle that? But
I mean, I think the pitch clock starts over if you throw over.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't seen what you're referring to, but I believe you. I'll say this about the pitch clock. As somebody that worked in minor league baseball for several years, I am very much pro the pitch clock. Those games, now that I go to them as a fan from time to time, go so much faster. It's incredible. That's the purpose of this. They don't.
Yep.
It's not that they don't care about the players, but they are desperately trying to get more people to watch and get a younger generation to watch this game. It's a game that you and I both love, but we have to be honest. These games are way too long. They don't need to be. Baseball games don't need to be 3.5 hours long every single night. The pitch clock is just one step in that direction. But it's a huge step. I think it's great. I'm very much pro pitch clock. I can understand why veteran players might be against it, especially pitchers. And that's fine. They're going to fight it. They're going to have to get over it. Because it will do what they're trying to do and speed up the game. It's absolutely necessary. Now, the other things, the shift restrictions is big too. I have kind of been back and forth on this. There's a strong part of me that has wanted the shift banned for a while. But I can see it both ways. I don't feel that strongly really one way or the other. And then the bigger bases, it's 3 inches, which isn't nothing. That's not as big of a thing to me. But those are 3 big changes. You don't see that happen very often in 1 year. It's pretty incredible that they're doing it all at once. If you ask me.
I do have this confirmed from Jeff Passan's article on ESPN. Pickoffs and step-offs reset the pitch clock, and the rules will limit pitchers to 2 for each plate appearance. The number would reset if a runner advances. A pitcher can make a 3rd pickoff attempt, but if it's unsuccessful, it will be a balk, allowing the runner to move up a base. So if you try to pick someone off 3 times and you're unsuccessful all 3 times, you're giving them the second base. So which means
they're trying.
Runners will get a huge lead after their second pickoff.
They're trying their damnedest to get more people to watch this game, and I respect that. I think they are learning. I know that this is not the topic of conversation we're having, but I think the landscape of sports is changing very quickly, and how people consume it, where people watch it, and the Major League Baseball TV packages are it's peanuts compared to some of these other things, and it's just people just aren't watching them. I think personally there's a lot of other things they need to worry about, but Blackout. This is a step in the right direction. So yes, Blackout is one of them.
Bigger bases, like Logan said, from 15 to 18 inches. That's a safety thing to give first baseman more room and runners more room to run past. Again, I went to multiple Louisville Bats games down here where they were testing those, and I didn't notice that the bases were even bigger at all. So who cares about that? But my favorite is shift restrictions. I have been pretty vocal anti-shift for a long, long time. I get it. Learn to hit the ball the other way. But I just think this will improve the game so much more.
I agree.
And they did what I not suggested. It's like I talked to them. I didn't talk to them. My idea was 2 fielders on each side of second base, and they have to be touching the dirt, which is what they're doing. You have to have 2 people on each side of second base, and both feet have to be on the dirt. So no more shifts. My thing was, if I was getting shifted against, every time I would lay down a bunt. I don't know why more people don't do that.
Yeah,
it's because with today's day and age, it's either home run or strikeout. So no one wants to bunt. But if the third baseman's playing the shortstop position, bunt it down the third base line, take your base.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And if people would start doing that, teams would stop shifting. So yeah.
Nobody wants to bunt.
Nobody
just wants to get on base, Craig. Yeah. Everybody wants to hit a home run or a double, and they're fine with taking the strikeout.
Yep. So
That's where we're at.
these are taking effect in 2023. So next year baseball will look a lot different. I think all three are for the good of the game. I know the old timers don't like to change and all of that, but I think all three will have a positive impact on the game of baseball.
I agree.
Moving on to movies, TV, anything. You want to talk Big Brother? I know it was
Oh
double
yeah, we
eviction
can.
week.
Yeah,
We haven't talked about it
eventful
much lately.
Big Brother week. Yeah. Did you watch last night's episode?
I did this morning. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, eventful week. The Michael thing, we had the double eviction. Terrence was obviously going home. That was pretty straightforward. Yeah. Michael had just gotten to a point where he had played too good of a game, and he had to win out. He had to win either the HOH or the veto every single week for the rest of the season if he was going to survive. And he didn't, and they took the shot. I don't love how he exited the game, and I don't love all the decisions he made, but he did what he thought he had to do. Excuse me. And I don't totally disagree with what he did either. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with how he handled it. I feel bad for Brittany in that situation, but he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. It was a very calculated decision. He knew that there was a double coming up, and that if he didn't win, he was likely going to be in that spot. And again, I'm sure a lot of people lost respect for him in that situation, but he was going to win. And if he didn't try everything he could, he would, not be happy with himself. And that's what he did. So, he was on a fast track to win, and they got him out. So I really have nothing else to say about it. It was fine. I think he's played a really good team.
The house made the perfect move. The time to get him was the double eviction.
Yep.
Because if it would have been a normal week where you have the HOH on Thursday, HOH on Thursday night, if he doesn't win that,
he has the whole week.
He has the whole week to scheme and work on people. So the double eviction night was the perfect night to pull it off. The house pulled it off perfectly. I was surprised to hear Turner say that wasn't the plan initially.
I think Turner really thought that he had that all guys thing. I think he really had Michael and Monty working with him, and it might have worked out in that situation, but
send Michael home like third.
Doesn't sound like Michael was really going to stick to that if that situation arises. So, I don't think it was a bad move really for anybody. I think they needed to do it.
I think early in the season, I loved Michael. I thought he was playing perfect. He was winning some comps. And I think his downfall was, and this, I don't know if this is a thing normally, because again, I'm still pretty new to the Big Brother, only 3 or 4 seasons I've watched. I think he was too much of a super fan. Like he knew too much about the game.
He was a super fan?
Yeah, right?
Did he mention that ever?
No. I picked up on it a couple of times. I think
I've
that's
heard the
where
word
his
super
game
fan
fell
used
apart.
in the DR more out of him and Daniel's mouth this year than I ever heard.
Yeah.
He played too hard and he won too much.
Won too much, yeah.
That's essentially what happened. And I think he did make a mistake, a big mistake, for a variety of reasons. Ethical reasons. I don't know that his mistake that he made was that big of a game mistake. I think it was more of an ethical mistake. But I think he played a pretty solid game. He was played too hard and he won too much. That's really what it came down to. Yeah. And the target on his back was just too big at that point that they had to take the shot when he did.
I forgot about the way he handled the Kyle situation. That did not help him at all.
It didn't.
He totally used that as leverage, and he held on to that information until he needed it, and then presented it to the people in the house to save one of his friends and his ally. Yeah, that was not smart on his part.
No.
Monty HOH right now with Alyssa and Brittany on the block, I believe.
Correct.
I do know who won the POV. I checked a couple days ago, so I know who won the POV, so I know what's happening there. But it has not been aired, so we won't say that. Do you know? Have you watched or?
I don't know if I've seen it or not. I've seen a name flying around, but I don't remember what exactly I saw that name for. So possible.
I saw it. Any movies or anything else? I haven't watched anything other than sports.
No, I didn't watch anything this week. I've been busy. Not much has come out yet.
I'm pretty sure Survivor starts in a couple of weeks, and The Masked Singer.
A lot of things come back here in the fall, so movies and TV shows are gonna be plenty to talk about. But as of right now, no,
I'll let you know what mask Tom Brady wears.
Oh, please do. Please let me know as soon as you see him.
Although now it seems like his absence is a little more serious than than what we were all joking.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that's been about an hour. Do you have anything else?
I think I'm good, Craig. I think I'm good. Yeah.
I
shut it down. Let's go home.
I appreciate Logan taking the reins of the editing for the last couple of weeks. He's stepping up his editing game and distribution game.
Don't tell the people.
I appreciate that. I got
they just probably assume we have a full-time producer that's here to do it for us.
We do. He is he put in his 2 weeks though. So if you are interested in being a full-time producer, editor, booker, all of that for No One Asked Us, let us know. You will be compensated with compliments and praise from me and Logan. The opening is send your applications to Logan. He's the HR of the department.
Happy to do it.
Thanks for listening. Episode 70 overall of No One Asked Us. As always, appreciate the support. If you're still here, like and subscribe, share, comment. Let us know what you think. We don't get a ton of listener interaction, but let us know what you think. If you have any thoughts or anything you want us to talk about next week or discuss, we will try and get that on there. So for Logan, I'm Craig. We'll see you next week. No Illinois game this week, so take a break, and we will preview the Chattanooga game on next week's episode. See you next week.
Bye.